The Aprilia Shiver and Dorsoduro are kind of the forgotten ones in the Aprilia range. Everyone raves about the Tuono and RSV4, and the 900s are just kind of left to sit in the corner swirling a cup of brandy while wondering about the meaning of their mechanical life. I mean, here are two mid-sized bikes with a lot of things going for them. Fun and talky V-twin, sweet handling, great looks, but sadly it looks like both are going to disappear into the nether. So let's check out why Aprilia's mid-sized twin is going extinct and look at the history of the bike. The Shiver 750 and Maximoto Dorsoduro 750 were first introduced in 2008. They were the first bikes made by Aprilia since its purchase by Piaggio in 2004. The project manager for the Shiver was Piero Ciati. In his words, until the takeover by Piaggio, we had a way of working that we can define as more passionate than rational. Sounds pretty accurate of an Italian manufacturer. The Shiver was designed to be an everyday bike that still retained that soul and excitement Aprilia is known for. At the heart was an all Aprilia designed and made 749cc 90-degree 8-valve V-twin, putting out 92 horsepower and 60 foot-pound of torque. The bike featured ride-by-wire with 3 changeable riding modes, adjustable suspension, and the rear shock was mounted linkage-free on the side of the bike for all to see. And most importantly, it was a good bike. The Aprilia is known for its sweet handling, quality suspension, and fun, torquey engine. The wild-looking Dorsoduro 750 was released in 2008 and uses the same platform as the Shiver, and it's a bit different. Think of it as a cross between an early KTM Duke 690 and a Ducati Hypermotard. The bike has a vastly different riding position to the Shiver. It's very upright, almost motocross-like, with quicker steering and shorter gearing. The Shiver GT followed in 2009. Aprilia added fairing to the bike, which made it better for touring and highway stints. The 750 was made to be scalable, and scale they did. The Dorsoduro 1200 was introduced 2 years later in 2010. The 1200 was a beast, but surprisingly easy to ride. Created as Aprilia's take on the Ducati Hypermotard, the Dorsoduro 1200 ended up being a grown-ups motard that just happened to have a stonking engine. The engine was designed by Federico Martini and was based off the legendary Ducati 1198 motor. Martini wanted similar power but more torque. The result is 130 horsepower and Grunt City. The bike was only slightly heavier than the 750 but put out 40 more horsepower and was 2mm narrower. The Shiver 750 got an update in 2010. The seat height was lowered, the riding position was changed by moving the footpads further back and the bars further forward. The rear wheel width was changed to speed up the steering a little bit, the front brake rotors were upgraded and the suspension firmed up. They also changed the colour schemes in 2010. I really like the red and black bikes from this era. There was also the Dorsoduro 750 factory. Like the RSV4 and Tuono factory models, it has high spec suspension, Sachs not Öhlins. The suspension was stiffened up all round and the bike got a lashing of carbon fibre to save weight. So that's a bit of history on Aprilia's Dorsoduro and Shiver range. Aprilia had a really nice recipe going on with these bikes, and both the 750 and 1200 models are first-rate bikes. Unfortunately, the bikes had some glaring faults. All the models suffered from questionable fuel economy, and at 499 pounds ready to ride, they really need to lay off the carbs. The 750 Dorsoduro has a tiny 12-litre, 3.2 gallon tank, and the 1200's 15-litre, 4-gallon tank wasn't much better. The Dorsoduro also had a bit of an image problem. Due to its heavy weight, it wasn't really hooligan enough to be a full-blown motard, and it didn't have the fuel range, comfort, or protection for serious touring work. The 750 models in particular suffered from a snatchy on-off throttle response, and low-speed fueling was poor to meet emissions. So it was a case of almost but not quite enough from Aprilia. The 1200 slowly disappeared from 2013 onwards, and it wasn't updated to meet Euro 4 emissions in 2016. But Aprilia had another trick up their sleeve. In 2017 they released a new 900 range. In order to meet Euro 4 emissions, Aprilia bored and stroked the 750 motor to create an 896cc engine. I remember when this bike was first announced and I was pumped. It's a nice looking bike. Peak power essentially stayed the same at 94 horsepower, but torque was increased by 10% to 66 foot-pounds. The bike introduced a TFT dash, traction control, and cut weight by using lighter 41mm forks and changed to the wheels found in the Tuono V4. I personally love the colours and the look of the 900 range, they look fantastic. But with the new Euro 5 laws coming into effect this year, a fair few bikes are not going to meet the new emissions criteria. And sadly, or not, depending how you look at it, both the Shiver and Dorsoduro 900s don't look like they're going to be updated and aren't listed in Aprilia's 2021 lineup. So if you're thinking about getting one, you better get your ass down to a dealer now or pick up a second-hand model. So why aren't the Dorsoduro and Shiver being updated? Well, the easiest answer is because it's being replaced by the new 660 range. To me, Aprilia have realised that while the 900s are good bikes, they have been left behind recently by the likes of the Yamaha MT-09 and Kawasaki Z900. The Dorsoduro is pretty underpowered and heavier than its competition too. They had a good 11-year run, but Aprilia have decided to put the Shiver and Dorsoduro out to pasture and have created the new 660 platform. The new 660s look fantastic, but there's something unique about the Shiver and Dorsoduro. Fortunately, they are a very good second-hand buy and you can get one for a really good price, well, a $750 at least. While they were never a light bike, you can save a ton of weight by ditching the boat anchor stock pipes. By changing them to an aftermarket brand, you'll save an easy 10 pounds, 5 kilos, and that weight is all high up on the bike, so it makes a big difference. What's great is, if you are looking at getting a second-hand model, a lot of people have already done this, so you'll save a bit of money. The crappy fueling on the earlier bikes was kind of fixed with mapping updates, but it can be further fixed by installing a fat duct. What is a fat duct? It's an O2 emulator that adjusts the fuel mixture. In this case, it adds more fuel to the mixture to solve the stupidly lean fueling and actually improve fuel economy too. I was really close to buying a Dorsoduro a few years back. I test rode a new 750 factory and found it to be a really nice bike. The suspension was great and it was really smooth to ride. But it lacked a bit of excitement for me coming from a Tuono 1000, the 2007 model V-twin. I then test rode a 1200 and absolutely loved it. They are a fun point and shoot bike. I was going to trade in my Brutal 765 for that, but in the 2 hours it took me to ride home and then have a quick think about it, they bloody sold it to someone else. Some things are just not meant to be. Finding a good 1200 is a lot harder nowadays. There simply weren't as many made and they hold quite a premium price for their age. The price has actually increased 3 to 4 years ago and they've held that price ever since. So is there any future for the Shiver and Dorsoduro? I could see Aprilia creating a new 850 to 900cc twin based off the new 660 platform. Let's say it puts out roughly 125 horsepower, that'd make a mean Shiver or Dorsoduro, and it'll wedge nicely between the 175 horsepower Tuono V4 and the 100 horsepower RS660. So while we should mourn the fallen, we must also remember and cherish them. Like that Dorso 1200 I almost bought, we could just go out and buy one. Thanks for watching everyone. This was a bit of a different video for me. I hope you liked it. Big thanks to everyone who's subscribed recently. If you haven't, it's not too late. Hit that subscribe button and I'll love you forever. Catch us later and keep it on the back wheel.